Turkey and Germany advance to the EuroBasket final. Me and Swipe are going to discuss that. And this Kawhi and Clippers thing keeps getting deeper and deeper. We're going to discuss all that and more on today's Locked On NBA Game Night.
When that final buzzer rings, you know it's time for Locked On NBA Game Night. All the post-game reactions to every game across the league, every single night, with insights only the hosts at Locked On can provide. It's the true NBA fans' one stop for all the action. Every game, every night. It's Locked On NBA Game Night. Tipping off now.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Locked On NBA Game Night. I am one of your hosts, Hayes, one of the hosts of Locked On Bulls. I am joined by, as I am every single Friday night, by Swiper, one of the hosts of Locked On Nuggets. It's been a lot of good basketball, some news coming out as well. Today's episode is brought to you guys by Monarch Money. Take control over your finances with Monarch Money. Use code Locked On NBA at Monarch Money for 50% off your first year. Swiper, let's go ahead and get into it, man. EuroBasket has been exciting. It's been fun. We talked about it last Fridays where we were when we were heading into the round of 16. We're now going into the EuroBasket final. Today, Turkey went over Greece 94-68. Let's start off with talking about this matchup. How'd you feel about the game that Turkey played today? 94-68, pretty dominant win today.
Yeah, this was the definition of a defensive masterclass by Türkiye. They just absolutely shredded apart the Greece team. They didn't give them any breathing room whatsoever. They were up 26 points at one point in time inside of this game. I mean, it was just a demolition. This is just a team that has been on a mission all tournament. They have not let up at all on giving up any easy looks for the teams they played against. Look, Alperen Şengün has had a tremendous EuroBasket tournament. Right now, Houston Rockets fans, they can't get enough of what he's doing. He had 15, 12, and 6 today with 2 steals, and he had a block. He did not shoot well, but his defense, again, was good. He had 5 turnovers, so obviously he turned the ball over a lot. But this is a dude that's just been playing aggressive. The dunk that he had today was spectacular. He had a block on Giannis that was spectacular. The whole team, they just look like a team that's on a mission. Cedi Osman played well today. He was 7 of 12 from the field, had 2 big threes that he hit today. Shane Larkin, 14 points, 5 of 8 shooting. They just have a really smart, really solid, really well-coached team, and they're playing really high-level basketball right now. And I think a big credit to them. You know, they've beaten Serbia at this point. Obviously, no bogey made a big difference in that game in the round of in the games to determine group play and all that. But they actually ended up playing maybe the best defensive game versus a superstar this entire tournament. Giannis had going into the third quarter, Giannis had 8 points, and he was shooting 40% from the field. On the game, Giannis had 12 points. He was 6 of 13 from the field, and he was a minus 30 in this game with 5 turnovers. I mean, if you would have asked me if Giannis had the ability to play that bad at all at any point in time in EuroBasket, I would have told you absolutely not. But I think that just speaks to how dominant their defense has been, how dominant Şengün's been as an anchor in this run. But also Şengün made some of the sickest passes. He made a wraparound pass today on Giannis in the first quarter where he basically got the ball in a short roll. Giannis faced up at the basket. He threw the ball around his side out to the corner and made a wide open 3, bro. Like, they're just playing with energy. It was a great, dominant victory for Türkiye today. Just phenomenal.
Yeah, it was everything you just said that it was, as far as like a dominant performance by them. They came in, you could tell that they had a game plan to deal with Giannis. They executed that game plan very well. I don't know if I've ever, and yeah, I mean, I have to go back and look, but like in recent memory, seen Giannis defended that well. And we know that EuroBasket play is a lot different than NBA, but like it was just such a good performance by the way that they played defense. And then you look at Turkey, Cedi Osman with the 17 points he scored, Osmani with 28 points himself. Like, they did it as a team. And Alperen Şengün, as much as he's been playing and been an anchor, like you said, for this team, only 15 points today, but the impact on the game was still felt throughout the game. He played a very, very good game. Let me ask you this. Has this tournament done anything to change your opinion on Alperen? And the reason why I asked that is that clearly the Rockets are looking, they traded for Kevin Durant. They were over 50 win team last year. They're hoping that, of course, Kevin Durant coming here is going to help propel them to hopefully, be able to get to the NBA finals. But I think they still need one of their young players to ascend to that next level for them to truly be a contender. has this run by Alperen made you think that anything that could happen this upcoming season for him?
I mean, he's 23, so like, yeah, I mean, he has a lot of growth to go. When they compare him to they call him Baby Jokic, obviously.
Yeah.
When Jokic was 23 years old, that was 2000, I think 18, 19. I want to say his 23-year-old season. He was first team All NBA that year, and Şengün, first team All NBA is probably off the table because the NBA is so incredibly loaded at the top. But look, can he make an Evan Mobley type of leap where he becomes a second team All NBA player? He's a really good scorer, good post defender, good rim protector. He's somebody that can really pass out of the short roll. The IQ and stuff is there. Yeah. I mean, there's definitely a reality for it. And I think Şengün's biggest thing is going to be his finishing and cutting down on some of those turnovers that he gets, especially when he gets rushed and like you put a lot of hands in his face. But yeah, Şengün could be a spectacular player. I don't know what his ceiling is. I don't even want to guess what it could be. He just turned 23 just July. But I absolutely think that Rockets fans, that the organization, they should feel very good about the development that they've seen from him and how much poise he has gotten over the last couple of years. And I think in EuroBasket, you're watching him and watching that maturity continue to really infect the way that his team plays. And they trust him. They trust what he's doing. They trust the process. I think they should look forward to seeing a spectacular career season from Alperen Şengün this year.
Absolutely, and I agree with that. I'm on the Rockets bandwagon this upcoming year, so I hope that they have a great season. What is this EuroBasket run with Giannis? How do you feel like now that it's ended? How do you feel about his run overall this season?
Yeah, so obviously they're going to play in the bronze game for third place.
Mm-hmm.
So Greece, they overcame a lot in order to get here. Giannis up until this point had a really good run, and I think he's been obviously the key reason why this team has been as good as they've been. Giannis, I think, is it's tough because we don't know what to expect from the Bucks, but I think that for Giannis, he's just continued to establish his legacy as the best Greece player that's ever played, the most important player in his athlete in the history of the country, arguably. And I think somebody that has like a lot more of great basketball headed his way. But Giannis was great. Greece showed up and they really played well in a lot of these games. You got some surprise performances out of some players that you just might not have expected. And I think that ended up making a big difference. Is why they were able to get some of the victories that they got. But I mean, it's just good, man. Like, they're a really good team. I really like the way that they play. I like how hard and how aggressive they played this year. I think Giannis has done obviously most of the heavy lifting for them in order to get them where they are. But you know what? It's just the talent deficit was just like on full display today, especially once they got Giannis out of the game and just made him an inefficient player and then created the turnovers, and they weren't getting him the looks that he's used to getting. I mean, once all that happened, it was kind of over. So, but Giannis, I still think outside of today has had a tremendous tournament.
Absolutely, absolutely, and the Greece can hold their heads up high with the way that they performed in this tournament overall, and we'll see what happens with them in the next international tournament. But Turkey, for what it's worth, they've had themselves a nice run, beating Sweden in the round of 16, and Poland now defeating Greece. So it's going to be fun to see what they can do in the EuroBasket final. We'll get into our predictions over that final here in a second. On Turkey, let me ask you this: over the course of this tournament, who outside of Alperen has stood out to you?
Shane Larkin. No question. Shane Larkin, University of Miami prospect. He's played in a few different teams. He honestly is already having a really good run overseas. He's really rebuilt his career out there. But Shane has been instrumental through the play creation that they've had this year. I think the playmaking aspect that he's really brought to the team. I think that Cedi Osman also had another really good run. One of the things that EuroBasket allows for you to do, it allows for you to use a lot of your game that the NBA doesn't let you, and because like the league is so talented, not everybody can handle the ball, everybody can dribble, not everybody can create. But Cedi's primarily been an off-ball player, but he's been really good, I think, in creating shots for himself and creating shots for other people, really good off the ball as well. So those would be the two ones that immediately stand out, and in particular, Shane Larkin for me as well.
Yeah, Shane Larkin is really he's had himself a nice run there. A player that didn't kind of crack in the NBA. He's been good. Cedi Osman's been amazing as well, and very consistent for this team. They're all going to have to step up because that final is going to be no joke. And we're going to talk about their opponent in that final in Germany coming up next. But first, we got to get to a message from Monarch Money. Most people can't name all their financials accounts or even what they're worth, whether it's 401ks, properties, or investments. And when you don't have the full picture, you can end up leaving money on the table. That's why there's Monarch Money. It's an all-in-one personal finance tool that brings your entire financial life together in one clean, easy to use interface on your laptop or your phone. Monarch is built for people with busy lives. If you put off organizing your finances, Monarch is for you. Monarch does the heavy lifting for you, and you can link all your accounts in minutes, see clear data visuals, get smart categorization of your spending, and finally feel in control over your money without touching a spreadsheet. And if you also have shared accounts as well, you can track those and even set goals for those accounts along with your personal accounts. Don't let the financial opportunity slip through the cracks. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com in your browser for half off your first year. That's 50% off your first year at Monarch Money with code LOCKEDONNBA. More Locked On Game Night coming up next. All right, Swiper, let's talk about the other game that happened today as Germany gets over Finland to move into the EuroBasket final. How did you feel about this game?
Oh boy. We talked on another platform, Dennis Schröder, if they win EuroBasket, we'll just make him an NBA Hall of Famer. And then I saw on the Hoop Collective, apparently they asked the exact same question themselves. Dennis Schröder has been one of the best international players that we've seen in the last 25 years. He doesn't have maybe the reputation yet like a Patty Mills for Australia, but he should. I think that this is the player that has proven that he is a winner at the highest level. I don't think he's their best player, but because Franz is, but I think he's probably their most important player because of all the stuff that he does, creating shots for himself, creating shots for his team. His on-ball defense has been really good in this tournament. He's such a technically sound basketball player. And when you have somebody that does all the things that he does, that has the court vision he does, like he had 26 points and 12 assists and 5 rebounds today, y'all. And he made 4 threes. And Finland's a good team. They beat Serbia for a reason. They gave them everything that they could handle, and he just absolutely ripped them apart. So Dennis Schröder has been incredible. I actually hope he has a really good season this year with the Sacramento Kings. He's a guy that's had opportunities for big contracts before, and then kind of had situations he had to find his way around the NBA again, and he did it. And I think Dennis is he's going to have an opportunity to be a Naismith Hall of Famer at some point, in large part because of all the great success that he's had at the international level. And if he wins EuroBasket this year, after doing what he did last year in the Olympics, after doing what he's done in EuroBasket before, after doing what he's done in FIBA, he's going to have a resume that is almost unmatched in this era of international basketball.
Yeah, I mean, and you're right on that. Schröder internationally has been so good and consistent more times than not. And so, it'll be because we actually had that conversation on Locked On NBA, the daily version of the show, too, as far as will he get into the Basketball Hall of Fame mainly because of his international career? I mean, we've seen it happen before, and he can. I mean, Dennis Schröder has had, not to say that his NBA career has been completely horrible. It hasn't. It's just been very inconsistent. But him internationally, you can't knock what he's done with his international career at all. And in this game today, 26 points, 5 rebounds, 12 assists in this game. He was all over the court, all over time. He was plus 22 as well. Franz Wagner as well with 22 points, also 5 rebounds, 2 assists in this game, 1 steal, 1 block. But then Tristan da Silva. Well, Tristan da Silva didn't play a whole lot of minutes, 18 minutes, 13 points. Tristan da Silva, a teammate actually of Franz Wagner as well. He's a guy that I look at and I say that he has a lot of potential. And, I know we're not talking about NBA stuff right now, but I can't wait to see how he develops in the NBA because I do think there's a lot of potential there for him. But Franz and Schröder, they're such a good combination and a 1-2 punch. And when you get Daniel Tice as well contributing to that, they're going to be a very tough out here in the finals. And I love the way that Germany's their run has been really fun as well to just watch the way that they play basketball. They're a completely sound team from top to bottom. You got to compete for the full game if you really want a chance to beat them. But Germany's put their imprint on this clearly as they now move on to the final.
Who should be the favorite?
Man, that was what I was going to ask you next. You're talking about in the final between Germany and Turkey?
Mm-hmm.
Man, I'd say Turkey's probably going to be the favorite. No knock on Germany. Not to say that Germany has no chance to win. I'm not saying this they're head and shoulders above, but if I had to pick a favorite, I'd probably pick Turkey right now.
Yeah, that's tough. I think the advantage that Türkiye is going to have is the interior. Right now, that double big lineup that they've been running with Şengün has been just absolutely lights out. I don't know. Now, a lot of this is going to come down to Schroeder and, two things, two team stats that I've been noting throughout EuroBasket that'll make a big difference. One is the offensive rebounding. Which team's going to control the boards? And Germany doesn't have like the bigs that Türkiye does, but they do have size. They have wings. And Franz Wagner is going to have to play a big role in what this team is doing on the boards and making sure that they're securing offensive rebounds and making sure they're not giving up a bunch of second chance points. I mean, that is probably going to be maybe the biggest thing that I'll be looking forward to on top of the 3-point shooting. If you look through this tournament right now, and you look at just some of the rebounding numbers, I mean, Finland rebounded well, Lithuania's rebounded well, Germany's rebounded well. You just really want to make sure you're doing everything you can to end possessions. That might be the most important thing that you're looking for right now in FIBA. And so I'm actually really excited to watch this game. Part of me wants to lean to Türkiye just because of the run they've been on and how good she played, and the fact that they were getting so many contributions from so many different players. But on the other side I'm looking at Germany's roster and I'm just like, man, like Germany is just stacked. Like Tice is great. Bonga has been really good in this tournament. He's been one of the best defensive players in this tournament. Maybe the most important defensive wing, given he had to guard Luka Doncic and then had to get out there and guard versus Lauri Markkanen and then today. And then Tristan Da Silva, Thiemann off the bench. They have a lot of really good, solid players. And so my question is going to be, how does Tice handle the interior pressure from Türkiye? How is he going to be able to manage the boards to make sure that they're not just getting second chance point after second chance point after second chance point? And then when you're creating those shots out of the short roll, which team is going to be able to convert on the 3-point line? So it's going to be interesting because I think this is going to be by far the most difficult game of the tournament. Now, Serbia-Türkiye was a really hard-fought game. But I think Germany and Slovenia was a really hard-fought game. Then that one got out of hand as time went on. But I'm actually curious, like Osmani, as you talked about, like can he have another really good high-level impact offensive scoring game versus Germany? They're going to need Osman to play out of his mind. They're going to need Larkin to play out of his mind. They're going to need Şengün to have not just a really good all-around game, but an efficient scoring game and finish those possessions. But will that be enough to counteract the fact that I think Dennis Schröder of this tournament is probably the best non-Luka Doncic guard that's played in EuroBasket. And to have somebody that is that good, controlling the ball and the pace that well, and then on top of that, getting in and out of the pick and rolls and having as many options as he has around him, the play finishing, the defensive ceiling. Man, I'll go Germany, but it's going to be a tight game through the last minute and a half. And Dennis Schröder, he makes one of the shots to put him up ahead. Franz Wagner gets to the free throw line in the last 40 seconds or something like that. And that puts them up 3. And then from that point on, they're able to build the lead. Türkiye misses a shot down on the other end, 83-80 or something like that. And the next thing you know, they get the rebound, they get fouled, they hit 2 more free throws, and now they win by 5. So it's going to be something like that where last 45 seconds, the money's on the table, and Dennis and Franz are able to put it away.
Yeah, and I mean, when you look at Germany, too, Germany has scored the most points, averaged the most points per game in this tournament. They're second in field goal shooting percentage. They're third in free throw shooting percentage. They're the third best rebounding team in this tournament. Like, they are so efficient at everything that, it's going to be, can they keep that up in one game? And we know when it's one game elimination, anything can happen, but Germany's just been so consistently at the top of almost every metric in EuroBasket so far that it's going to be Turkey's going to have to stay on their heels the whole game, and they're going to have to execute really soundly. I think the key thing that you pointed out too there is the free throw shooting percentage, because if this is a tight game down the stretch and you're able to get to that free throw line, Germany's shooting 80% on the free throw line, a little above 80% in the free throw line over the course of this tournament, whereas Turkey's shooting 73%. So there's a 7% difference between those teams. So look out for rebounding and free throws to be something that really could, second chance points, free throws could be a big difference in this final for sure.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, bro. Yeah, it's going to be a war. Offensive rebounding, free throws, 3-point percentage. We'll see. But I think it's going to be a great game. I can't wait to watch it.
Agree. So we're going to get into the last topic. We're going to get back into some Clippers drama with Kawhi Leonard, as Pablo Torre has not come off the necks of the Los Angeles Clippers. We're going to get into that right after a message from FanDuel. The NFL season is here, and FanDuel is making sure you're ready for kickoff with a can't-miss offer. Right now, new customers can bet just $5, and if your bet wins, you'll get $300 in bonus bets to use across the app. I love using FanDuel because it fits however you like to bet. Player props, building the same game parlay, or even jumping in live as the action unfolds. It makes every game more exciting, whether you're watching your team or just keeping an eye on your fantasy lineup. It's quick, easy, and the best way to add a little more energy to Sundays. So are you ready to play? Download the FanDuel app now by visiting FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel.com to place your first $5 bet. More Locked On Game Night coming up next. It's on me. All right, Swiper. Before we get up out of here, man, let's talk about this Clippers drama. Pablo Torre dropped what he or many have called could be the smoking gun in this case, in which one of the Clippers minority owners, well, there's only one Clippers minority owner. Steve Ballmer owns 99% of the team. There's a 1% minority owner, made a $1.99 million payment to Aspiration. 9 days later, Kawhi Leonard was paid $1.75 million as Aspiration was coming up late on a payment. We've also got some word from Adam Silver on this as well in regards to kind of their thought process on this. As this keeps coming out and more keeps coming out, how are you feeling about this? Do you think the Clippers can still escape this without any type of punishment coming?
Well, I don't think speculative. Based on the information we have at hand, I do not believe that they should make this out without having to face a penalty. And one of the reasons is that we have more than enough information to supply that they were aware of what Aspiration was doing with Kawhi Leonard. They were aware of the no-show contract. They were aware of the stipulations surrounding the no-show contract. They were aware that Kawhi Leonard was not on his end, despite the fact that in his contract that he had to fulfill certain items. They were aware that he was making, in that situation, more money than any of the other celebrities combined. And then not only were they aware of the overall money surrounding the contract, but then they were also aware that when it came time for Kawhi to be paid, that Uncle Dennis, Kawhi's uncle, that he had got to a point where he was expecting that there was a payment to be made to Kawhi in the sum of about $1.75 million. That was being delayed and held up. So then from that point on, the person that you mentioned earlier, which is Dennis Wong, who is the minority 1% owner of the Los Angeles Clippers, he then made a deposit, for which there is a paper trail. He then made a deposit, again, which there is in the sum of $1.99 million. That money of $1.75 million was then paid out to Kawhi Leonard.
Mm-hmm.
So in total, the details, $28 million in the total detail. And so this is also from the Boston Sports Journal from John Corrales, who works with Locked On, by the way. The $28 million deal was not the only compensation Leonard received. According to a high-level source, Leonard also cut a side deal with Aspiration to receive an additional $20 million in company stock. The stock was to be paid out from Sandberg's personal holdings in the company over 4 years. So the total sum of the money that Kawhi Leonard was contracted to get from this organization was $48 million. And in this, we have paper trails that show that he was, at least the timeline seemed to show, that when it came time for him to be paid, that Dennis Wong made a $2 million deposit into Aspiration, even as the business was sinking, in order to make sure that Kawhi received $1.75 million payment. And we now have multiple sites that are confirming that Aspirations and the Clippers had ties to this level. And then in 2019, also from Pablo Torres finds out, he shared an article from Sam Amick in which sources say the league was told that Robertson, Dennis, asked for team officials for part ownership of the team, a private plane that will be available at all times, a house, and certainly but not least, a guaranteed amount of off-court endorsement money that they could expect if Leonard played for the team. So, Hayes, not only do we have, after the initial denial of Steve Ballmer saying he had no idea what was going on with aspirations and the company was failing, this is after Mark Cuban got online and argued with Pablo Torre that Steve Ballmer could not be this dumb, essentially, to make a deal like this. And then after that, we find out that $1.9 million has been paid out by Dennis Wong. And then after that, we get confirmation that Kawhi Leonard and his people indeed asked for further compensation from teams other than within his contract.
Yeah, reportedly Clippers as well.
Put all that together.
I mean, not Clippers, Raptors.
It seems like there's a smoking gun here.
Yeah.
And that the Clippers may be found liable for circumventing the NBA salary cap in order to make sure Kawhi Leonard received further compensation other than his NBA contract.
It is pointing that way. Of course, the NBA is going to do their own investigation. I love the fact that Adam Silver, one thing that came out is that, this isn't like a court of law. They can make, it's in the CBA. All they need is circumstantial evidence. They don't need to have like something. It has to be without beyond a shadow of a doubt. Like they can go off and make their determination based off circumstantial evidence. The thing I keep going back to is if their own internal investigation turns up, I would say even a third of what Pablo Torre turns up, it's looking pretty damning there. And like you said, we can only talk about what ifs and allegedlys and stuff right now. But I just, for what we know so far, I don't see how the Clippers make it out of this without some form of punishment. I just don't see it.
By the way, Hayes, tell me what this looks like to you. Okay. December 15th. This is from Silicon Valley Bank. And in the previous episodes, he's already highlighted it. KL2 Aspire LL is, if you go and look at the registered agent, is the LLC of Kawhi Leonard and Dennis. So they own this business. And December 15th of 2022, there was a wire out for Kawhi Leonard for $1.75 million that was paid out from Silicon Valley Bank on December 15th of 2022. We see on December 6th of 2022, there is a deposit in Silicon Valley Bank, a wire in from DEA 88 Invest of the number of $1.999.999.59 million paid out into Aspiration. Brother. And we know that's a confirmation from Dennis Wong. Mm-hmm. Brother. What does that look like to you?
It looks like that, like there's something not quite on the up and up going on there. That's what that looks like. I mean, the optics of it are already sold. Like I don't think you can even make a conversation anymore for the optics of anything. Like it already looked fishy when it was just Steve Ballmer investing in the company, but then you get Wong making his investment at a time where the company had already laid off, I believe, 20% of its workforce and was already about to go belly up. Like this looks bad. And I think especially now, and I said this last week, with being in the era of the second tax apron, the teams are going to drastically try to avoid. You cannot allow teams to circumvent the salary cap like this. You can't even allow for the optics of that. So I think they're going to, we'll see. And we'll cover it here as it all happens. That's for sure.
Yeah. And again, just for further point, that company that I said dropped the 199 off into the account, that company had never prior to that point, per the records that are available, ever made a deposit into Aspirations ever before. It had never happened. There was never a financial relationship prior to that. And then Kawhi Leonard magically gets 1.75 and $1.99 million. So, we'll see.
We shall see. Anything left, Swipe, before we get up out of here, brother?
Bro, great EuroBasket. Everybody at Locked On done a great job covering the tournament so far. We got the finals this weekend, so I can't wait.
Absolutely, and I'll definitely be watching that. I wish we were on this. Well, you may be on. Is it Sunday? You'll be on?
Yeah, I'll be on Sunday.
Swiper will get the cover, so y'all make sure y'all go and support Swiper over there. We appreciate you guys tuning in here for us. Locked On NBA is available on every podcasting app and platform of your choice, as well as YouTube, the Odyssey app, Amazon Fire TV, Roku TV, Fubo TV. Anywhere you want us, you can get it. We'll see you guys on next Friday, man. Love you guys. Peace, y'all. And just like that,